Issues of women development have continued to resonate and gathering momentum across many countries in Africa. To give impetus to this agenda, women groups and policymakers assembled in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia for the 2023 African Women Conference. That is a major focus for our conversation in this episode of Africa Weekly. I am Charles Alpha, welcoming you to the program. The 2023 African Women Conference held in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, with Pan-African institutions and gender equality activists resolving to strengthen synergy and knowledge sharing across platforms towards building a progressive region where the rights of the girl child and women empowerment are of utmost priority.
For the 7th year in a row, the African Women Conference has brought together advocates of inclusion from across the continent. It's been another opportunity to strengthen discussions on gender-based interest while counting down to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, especially Goal 5.
We've got momentum. In what ways can we leverage these to demonstrate the power of possibilities?
I will also want to salute the spirit of the inclusiveness and building capacity for African women, which this particular conference drives.
Let us be torch bearers of change, champions of equality, and architects of a brighter future.
At the end of the 2023 conference, which lasted 3 days in the Ethiopian capital, these promoters of Women Agenda have resolved to strengthen women empowerment and amplify voices of the girl child in all nations across the region.
While respecting our various cultures, women at the grassroots must be encouraged to find themselves and break through their socialization process, which inhibits them, through deliberate advocacy and sensitizing as well as training in skills acquisition.
Climax of the 2023 conference is the acknowledgement and recognition of efforts by players and institutions, including these Nollywood legends, for their contributions to fighting barriers obstructing African women from reaching full potentials.
Okay, joining us right now in the studio is the founder of Helpline Foundation, Dr. Jumai Amadu, a leading Nigerian NGO that participated in the 2023 African Women Conference in Addis Ababa. I want to say thank you very much, Doctor, for finding time to come to the studio, NT International Studio on Africa Weekly program.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure being here with you.
All right, thank you so much. So help us put in proper perspective what informed the concept of the yearly African Women Conference just ended in Addis Ababa.
Thank you very much. The name, as we all know, is the African Women Conference. It came out of the realization that African women need a platform where we can come together annually to discuss about issues that concerns us, so we'll be able to profile homegrown solutions to our problems, because we are the ones that wears the shoes and we know how it pinches. So we realize that if we don't spearhead this cause, nobody from outside the continent can come and tell us how we should do things, how we should forge ahead to ensure that we are part of the decision making in our respective governments. That was how in 2018, March to be precise, at the sideline of the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women Conference, CSW, myself, my friend Ife in New York, we had Duga, she's from Senegal, and one other lady from Ethiopia. We said it's better for us to just find how we can start our own process, because it's not all the resolutions that we get from the UN that we can actually take to a woman who is in a remote village in Kogi, for example, or in a remote village in Ethiopia, Kenya, or any part of Africa. So we now said it's better for us to come together, discuss, bringing women from all over Africa, philanthropists, those working in government, industry, stakeholders, to just discuss about how we can have our own domesticated solutions to our problems.
Okay, now you just took the word out of my mouth there when you talked about domestication of the solution to your problem. Now, every year, your NGO Helpline Foundation has consistently facilitated the participation of Nigeria. So how would you gauge the impact of this program? Taking a look at the issues, and how they have affected women, and how, again, they have also been addressed at this conference.
One of our landmark achievements, based on resolutions that have come up in the previous conference, is what we have now going with Nasarawa State University KEFI. We also realize that one of the factors hindering women from participating actively in leadership and decision-making process, even economic empowerment, is their lack of access to education. So the conference at Rwanda in 2021 resolved that we should have a leadership development center where women will have access to education, where leadership issues will be discussed to them using the basic language that they will understand. So thankfully, the Vice Chancellor of Nasarawa State University was at this conference in Rwanda, and he agreed that he would give us a platform. We came home, developed our curriculum. Thankfully, the Senate of the university have approved this curriculum, and as I speak to you now, students have applied for this program at the university, and the first set of admission has been concluded. They will soon start their program. And what is the unique thing about this program is fully online. Fully online in the sense that they will access their course materials online, and they'll be able to have access to some of these courses that will develop them intellectually to be able to know those things that they need to know to equip them to become good leaders. We cannot talk about women participation in politics without them having the requisite education that they need to become active participants, which is what we have done, and is our flagship area of success, that everybody now realize that AWC is not just a conventional women gathering, discussing, tea party discussion, coming back to their respective country without anything that tangible. We have a tangible program going on. Women are going to access it beyond Nigeria. Nigerian women have embraced it. Women from other African countries, thanks to this year's edition, we're able to know that our discussions has gone beyond the talking. We have something we can show. They can go to this school, acquire their diploma certificate, 3 months, or certificate course in leadership development, 3 months. So the name of the course is African Women Conference Leadership Development Center for Women and Girls. And it is being managed by the Center for Gender Studies, Nasarawa State University. They are the ones managing this program for us. It's, for me and all of our participants over the years, one of the tangible things we can see that has been achieved from this conference and our conversations.
Okay, now from the Rwanda conference that you just talked about, and given the program that you also just mentioned, and how would you rate the development of women? How has their participation in politics and general development, how has it evolved since the Rwanda conference and this year's conference?
We are not where we wish we could be, but if you look at what is happening in Rwanda, Namibia, and South Africa, you know that the participation of women in these countries have gone even beyond our expectations, because in Rwanda now is about 60%. Namibia, they used to have 50-50, because in Rwanda they have the twinning system in Rwanda. In Namibia, that is compulsory for a woman to deputize where a man is the person heading an organization or a local government, ministers, even president. They call it the twinning system. Where a woman is the head, a man must be her deputy. So that has worked for them, and they have even surpassed 35% affirmative action. But here we are in Nigeria, we are just witnessing a declining participation of women. We used to have more women in the Senate before now, but this year, this legislative cycle, we have less women there, and which is why various women groups in Nigeria are championing the advocacy for them to have women, not just having women. We're also emphasizing on women that have the content, women that can represent women well. If you don't have women who represent us well, that will also bring us back to the naming that they will be called that you're advocating for more women. We have the numbers. What are they contributing? Content come into being. So we are not where we are supposed to be, like I said, but the conversations are ongoing. We now have men who are also coming out to champion the cause of having equitable distribution of leadership position between all the gender, and we are hoping that by the time we go back next year, we might have more women, particularly in Nigeria, not now elective again, because we don't have the opportunity of having election between now and next year, but appointive position. We are hoping that we'll have more women in appointive position, that we can go and tell our stories that yes, we are having government that is now considering ensuring that women are given their rightful place at the table of decision making.
All right. So, Doctor, finally, I'd like to find out what are the major takeaways from the conference there in Addis Ababa, and how can these be applied in Nigeria?
Thank you. We have quite a number of resolutions from Addis Ababa. I'll just highlight on those ones that I know that we are going to see them happening soon. We talked about boosting power of association. We need to network more. Women need to come together. Instead of us operating in silos, we should come together under one umbrella. That way our voice will be heard more, and people will see that we are committed and we are fighting just one cause, which is inclusion. We're not saying that this dinner should be served to us on a la carte. That's not what we are saying. We have the number, but the environment should be made friendly for women to be able to participate. So we now say that we should, all the factors that are limiting women in participation, we should ensure that women are also embracing technology. We are going to see that happening, so because in collaboration with other like-minded NGOs from across African countries, they are going to come to Nigeria for us to have like a technological expo for women to be able to use their digital skills to empower themselves. Women need money also to participate in politics. Political process is very expensive, and without economic empowerment, it's difficult for women to actively participate and use the resources within their disposal to be able to engage and eventually win this elective position. So digital skills is what we are going to see. One of our take away from Ethiopia that we are going to practically see happening in Nigeria before next year's edition. And we are going to bring these women to actually come here to testify that they have been able to be impacted and their source of livelihood is going to be enhanced, and they are also going to become politically, economically, and socially empowered to take their place at the decision-making process.
All right, Doctor, thank you so much. So I'd like to just ask this final question on a more subtle note now. So where will the next year's conference be holding?
We have, normally what we do is to throw it out to our delegates. So we have 3 countries, Malawi, Zambia, or Botswana. So our participants are going to give us, is a polling, we have a polling process of choosing, but we are going to narrow it down to one of these countries, Malawi, Botswana, or the Zambia, because we have strong representation in these 3 countries, and we hope that with our local committee in these countries, we'll be able to have a wonderful conference that will surpass the beautiful experience we just had in Ethiopia.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Jumayu Amadu, for coming on the program and sharing your thoughts.
Thank you very much. And I will not forget to also appreciate NTA for the platform that they have given us over the years to propagate this particular project that we've been carrying. So we appreciate.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Madam,
Thank
for
you.
talking to us on Africa Weekly. It was another bountiful harvest for Nigeria as the African Development Bank, Islamic Development Bank, and the International Fund for Agricultural Development hinted that they have voted $1 billion to further deliver special agro-industrial processing zones in 24 more states in Nigeria. This is in addition to an initial $520 million voted by the development partners for the development of 8 special agro-industrial processing zones in Nigeria. President, African Development Bank Group, Dr. Akiwumi Adesina disclosed this at the Norman Borlaug International Dialogue World Food Prize 2023 in Des Moines, Iowa, United States of America.
From the Dakar 2 summit to the World Food Prize in Des Moines, Dr. Adesina noted that the decision to pump such huge funds into Nigeria's agribusiness was part of the resolve to develop the special agro-industrial processing zones in 13 countries to support the development of agricultural value chains, food processing and value addition, enabling infrastructure and logistics to promote local, regional, and international trade in food.
The African Development Bank's flagship program, called Technologies for African Agricultural Transformation, or simply put TAAT, has brought together the International Agricultural Research Centers of the CGIAR, national and regional research centers, seed and fertilizer companies, and agribusinesses to deliver climate-resilient agricultural technologies at scale.
Describing the 2023 Norman Borlaug International Dialogue World Food Prize as a journey of combining the power of science, technology, policies, and politics to ensure Africa fully unlocks its agricultural potentials and feeds itself with pride. Vice President Kashim Shettima, who spoke on the Tinubu administration's initiative for food security, said the quality of present leadership in Nigeria and the rest of Africa will drive transformation in agriculture and other sectors.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a quintessential 21st century modern African leader who is determined to redefine the meaning and concept of modern leadership. SAPZ is an industrial policy framework and also a policy aimed at the structural repositioning of the Nigerian economy. It's going to be a game changer. And we have that moral obligation to see that all bottlenecks are eliminated, to see that Africa takes its rightful place.
Government will create special agro-industrial processing zones development authority that will operate like a one-stop shop where regulatory and associated issues will be addressed.
Similarly, the African Development Bank has announced financial commitment of $4.4 billion to develop some project in Nigeria, making it the largest investment in Africa. Now, this was confirmed by the Director General, Nigeria Country Department of AFDB, Lamin Barrow, during this year's joint country portfolio performance review meeting between the bank and the Ministry of Finance's International Economic Relations Department.
The bank's portfolio in Nigeria is one of the largest amongst our regional member countries, currently estimated at a total commitment value of $4.4 billion. These comprise 48 operations that are fairly evenly distributed between public and private sector portfolios.
The yearly Country Portfolio Performance Review Workshop, CPPR, provides a platform for the AFDB and Federal Ministry of Finance to jointly assess the performance and quality of the portfolio of bank finance projects in Nigeria for the sovereign operations. This year's CPPR workshop is the first under Tinubu's administration, and the AFDB's Nigeria Country Director General, Lamin Barrow, commends the federal government for its recent policy changes, such as the removal of fuel subsidies and the unification of foreign exchange rates. Barrow also expressed dissatisfaction with the increased submission rate of procurement plans, which has risen from 72% to 82%, and the Federal Executive Council's approval of the Ekiti Knowledge Zone project.
Since our last workshop in 2022, good performance has been recorded in some of the metrics. In particular, the operations flagged for implementation challenges have decreased from 36% in January 2023 to 32% in September 2023. We are also pleased that the share of startup delays has decreased from 32% of flagged operations in June 2023 to 28% in October. And this is expected to reduce further to 8% by the end of December 2023, with timely and targeted actions for specific projects.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian government has commended the AFDB's partnership towards achieving national development priorities. Director of the International Economic Relations Department, Stanley George, however, confirmed there are challenges preventing seamless implementations of the portfolio. He mentioned long implementation periods, low disbursement rates, poor communication with the various MDAs, and issues of ineligible expenditures.
That the portfolio of over $4 billion is a loan to be repaid by our children and grandchildren. The least we can do for them, for these children and grandchildren, is to ensure that these projects are implemented in a timely manner, so that the outcomes will feed into improving the quality and lives of the people.
The CPPR is an interactive session underpinned by the principles of partnership and mutual accountability between the AFDB, the government, and where appropriate, the co-financiers.
And that's our package this week on Africa Weekly. Thanks for being part of it. I am Charles Alpha. Thanks for watching.